everybody, it's me, Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I'm back with another game review. This time I'm reviewing Morbid, The Lords of Ire. It was published by Merge Games and developed by Still Running and released on May 15th of 2024 for pretty much just about every system. And where you play as this character known as Striver. Now, this actually is a sequel to a previous game which I never played, so I'm not really sure how it plays. I guess apparently the original one was more of an isometric style game, and this one is like another Souls style game, as you can tell by the footage, where you go through 5 different tribes of Ire. And they say it's a horrorpunk themed game that has all kinds of different areas you go through, from these big epic valleys to these really beautiful snow-capped mountains to jungles, cities, and more. And it is a Souls-like title. And it's kind of simplistic on the plot, okay? So it's not much plot. They just kind of throw you right in. And you're sent on this quest, basically, to take down these 5 main bad guys that are in each of the 5 tribes of Ire. And it's got a kind of simplified upgrade system to it. And not really too much involved with it. It is Souls light. This one was very easy for me to pick up and play, honestly. I didn't have no problems in figuring it out because you have your basic ability of your parry attack, your normal attack, a hard attack. Later on, you get a gun that you can use to shoot like at a distance these things to blow them up so you don't get hurt. You have the ability to roll, dodge, and block and counter. And naturally, you want to use that against these enemies that you need to learn their moves. But their attack patterns are pretty easily identifiable and able to memorize pretty easy. Because they have a lot of different abilities. Like when they're going to attack you, you can kind of tell because of the way the animation is. And once you figure out how to parry their attack, avoid it if it's an unblockable attack, and counter them. Because each of the enemies has a HP bar and a stagger bar. Now, if their stagger bar fills up all the way, they can actually do like a super move to you, especially the bosses, so you got to be careful with them. But you want to figure out how to parry and counter these enemies to pretty much destroy their stagger bar first, because then you can whittle away their health really easily that way. Naturally, as you go through, there's different weapons you get. Everything, you start off with this big sword, but you can get axes, sickles, and everything else along the way. And much like a Souls-like game, there'll be these altars you can pray at along the way to get your health back, but naturally that resurrects all the enemies that you've defeated. Now, as you kill enough enemies, you'll go up in rank, and it will unlock these blessings that you can use. And you have pretty much 3 different slots for blessings, and you can upgrade them twice. Each one gives you a perk, like increased health, better defense, more damage, and stuff like that. Pretty kind of self-explanatory. And the other thing you can get are runes, which are basically items you can affix into your weapon in the weapon's gem slots. And once you fill it all up, you can fuse it into the weapon, which increases the total power, and it allows you to do this multiple times. So if you have a particular weapon you really like, you can really beef it up with these runes and make it really, really strong. Now, bear with me, there's maintenance going on and they're mowing outside. But the graphics in this are very serviceable. It's not an ugly looking game, but it's not the best looking game. But considering how small the development team was that made this, I don't really have a problem with it. The music is pretty decent too. Music is not bad. Now the other thing is the gore. This is heavily focused on like what they call it, horrorpunk. So a lot of the enemy designs are really over the top and really cool looking, and there's tons of gore. Every time you kill an enemy, there's all kinds of blood. It gets a bit excessive, and near the end of the game, it's like obviously viscera everywhere, and it can be kind of a little bit too much. I think they went a little carried away with it, but to me it didn't hurt the game any. But just keep that in mind if you're not a big fan of massive viscera. Near the end of the game, it gets pretty gross. Now, most of these levels that you go through, 5 different areas, are very linear in nature. Most of them have one path with maybe occasionally a branching path here or there, and that's because each main level has a main boss and a sub-boss. The sub-boss is normally hidden off on a beaten path that you can take to go and beat it, and do that you can get some special items and stuff like that. So you got your mini-boss, what I call them, and your main boss. And a lot of times, most of the enemies in this aren't really that bad. They won't cheap shot you They, like I said, they have pretty designated moves that they do to attack you, and you can get ganged up on by a lot of enemies. But honestly, as long as you just take your time and you memorize the enemy's patterns and their moves, you can counter them with the proper move, like either a parry, a dodge, or even block or a roll out of the way to be able to kill them and progress through as you go through. Honestly, it's really not that bad of a game. But I do have to tell you right now, overall game length, it's not that long either. It's only about 8 to 14 hours long through this adventure, and it's really not that long, but fortunately, the price is actually pretty decent. It's only $30 for this game. So, I mean, if you're honestly a fan of these Souls-like titles, this one is not a super difficult one either. I was able to pick up and play through it fairly easily, and it was still challenging, but it wasn't nothing that made me want to rip my hair out. Some of the bosses are, a borderline pain in the butt, but even once you figure out their patterns and their moves that they do, you can figure out how to beat them fairly easily. And like I said, it's still a challenge. It'll still kill you, much like any Souls like. The only difference with this is if you die, I don't think you really lose anything. You really don't. I don't think you lose experience or anything like that. You might, but I didn't really notice it because, like I said, it seems like as you can keep grinding these enemies and gain levels, and once you gain enough levels, that's how you could basically unlock more blessing slots. So keep in mind, and it jumps each time. It goes like 2 to 5 to 10 to 20 to, yeah. So it can be kind of a pain in the butt to unlock them. But when you do, like I said, the perks they give you, it makes it well worth it. Now the other thing I got to talk about is there's something in this called a sanity system. Now, depending how good or bad you are throughout this game and how violent you are, you can either gain your sanity or lose it. And I didn't really notice anything that really changed much, unless like if you lose your sanity when you're killing enemies. Like sometimes, like a new enemy that's like a ghost version of it will respawn immediately afterwards, and you have to kill it. So it kind of just makes it where you see these ghosts of enemies, but you still have to fight more enemies. So other than that, I really think the sanity system's not really that great. But honestly, other than that, it's rather simplistic. It's the move sets aren't really majorly in depth. Like I said, you just have your parry attack, regular and hard attack, your gun, which I hardly ever used a gun. I really didn't. But in the end, I found myself actually enjoying this game. Can I recommend Morbid, the Lords of Ire to you? If you're a fan of these Souls-like games and you don't mind the fact that it's not the most difficult one out there, and you don't mind the short amount of time it takes to get through this, 8 to 10, 14 hours or so, and the fact that it doesn't really have too much of a deep story, for the price of $30, I say, yeah, go ahead and pick it up. Please leave in the comments below if you played Morbid, the Lords of Ire. If you agree or disagree with me, if there's anything I missed in this review, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. And of course, leave lots of comments. And here at Devil Dog Gaming, we always end our videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.